So now we're going to look at solving radical equations. If you notice in a previous video, we looked at taking the square root or the root of a number. Here we're going to reverse that order. So instead of taking the square root, we're actually going to raise the number to the power of 2 in this case to get rid of the square root to find out what the variable actually was. So we've got 17 is equal to the square root of f. In order to get rid of a radical, we raise to a power. So I would raise both sides to the power of 2, only because I know that by default this is a square root. If it was, say, a cube root, say this was a cube root, then I'd raise both sides to 3. So that's just a little hint to help you along later. So we know that f is 289. Number 2, we have 8 is equal to the square root of r. Raise both sides to the power of 2. Therefore, r is 64. Got number 3. We've got the square root of x is equal to 0.3. We're going to raise both sides to 2, so x is equal to 0.9. Oh, I forgot the other 0. Okay, that was my fault. We got it though. Here we've got, and that's what happens when you start going too fast, right? So we've got the square root of b is equal to 1 over 7. We're going to raise both to the second power, and that gives me b is equal to 1 over 49. Number 5, we've got the square root of k is equal to 0.4. Now this time I'm going to be a little bit more careful, and I'm going to multiply 0.4 by 0.4. That gives me 16 carry to 1. Yeah, I'm sorry. So 0.4, and we're going to square that. And that gives me 4 times 4 is 16. I've got 2 decimal places, so my imaginary decimal place is here at the end. I'm going to move it 2 places. So that gives me k is equal to 0.16. Number 6, we've got negative 5 is equal to the square root of w minus 6. Well, we want the square root alone, so we're going to add 6 to both sides of the equation. We've got the square root of w is equal to 1. Square both sides. That we know w is equal to 1. Number 7, we've got 8 is equal to the square root of x minus 7. We're going to add 7 to both sides because we want the square root symbol alone, which is called the radical. So we've got 15 is equal to the square root of x. Go ahead, square both sides. And we've got 225 is equal to x. Let's look at number 8. We've got 15 is equal to the square root of v plus 8 plus 10. We want the radical alone, so let's subtract 10 from both sides of the equation. And we've got 5 is equal to the square root of v plus 8. Go ahead, square both sides. We've got 25 is equal to v plus 8. Subtract 8 from both sides of the equation, and v is equal to 27. Not 27. I almost got caught, guys. It is 17. I don't know where I got 27 from, other than it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Let's do number 9. 12 is equal to negative 3 plus the square root of f. Again, we don't want anything on the same side as our radical, so let's add 3 to both sides of the equation. And we've got 15 is equal to the square root of f. Square both sides. So 225 is equal to f. Number 10, we've got the square root of u plus 35 is equal to 11. Let's square both sides. We've got u plus 35 is equal to 121. Subtract 35 from both sides of the equation. And u is equal to, well, let's see, we borrow from the 2, that makes that 11, so that's 6. That leaves us 11 minus 3, which is 8. And check it, 6 plus 5 is 11, carry 1, 1 plus 8 is 9, plus 3 is 12. Yeah, so u is 86. 11, negative 71 equals the square root of g plus 59 minus 75. Let's add 75 to both sides of the equation. We've got 4 is equal to the square root of g plus 59. Go ahead, square both sides. So we've got 16 is equal to g plus 59. We're going to subtract 59 from both sides of the equation. And g would be equal to, well, 59 minus 16. So that's 343. Let's see, 59 minus 16. Yeah, so g would be 43. Now, I really feel like checking this. So 43 plus 59, that's 12. That's 102. So let's see here. I don't trust this. I think I've gone a little too fast. Let me recheck. So I added 75 to both sides of the equation. I got 4, and then g plus 59. I squared both sides, and I got g plus 59, and I squared the 4, and I got 16. Well, if I subtract, there it is right there. Should be negative 43. That makes more sense. That's why you have to check things, guys, especially when you're going pretty fast. Number 12. 4 is equal to square root of 4f. Square both sides. We've got 16 is equal to 4f. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. F is equal to 4. Alright, I'm going to turn people over here. So on this one we're solving for r, and we've got, this is number 13, I believe. We've got the square root of negative r minus 19 is minus 10 is equal to 9. Well, we're going to add 10 to both sides of the equation. First thing we're going to do so that we can get the radical alone. That leaves us with the square root of negative r minus 19, which is equal to 19. So we're going to square both sides. And we've got negative r minus 19 is equal to, well, we've got 19 squared, right? So 19 squared is 361. We're going to add 19 to both sides of the equation. That gives us negative r is equal to 1 plus 9 is 10, carry the 1, 8, 380. But we don't want negative r, we want positive r. So let's divide both sides by negative 1, and that leaves us with r is equal to negative 380. Number 14, we've got negative 20 equals negative 20, the square root of 13y minus 12. So first things first is we want to get rid of this negative 20, and we see that it's being multiplied by our square root of 13y minus 12. So let's just divide by negative 20. And And that leaves us with 1 is equal to the square root of 13y minus 12. Square both sides. We're left with 1 is equal to 13y minus 12. Let's add 12 to both sides of the equation. That leaves us 13 is equal to 13y. We want y alone, so divide by 13 on both sides of the equation, and y is equal to 1. Number 15, we have 17 is equal to negative 4 plus 3 times the square root of cube minus 10. Again, we want to get everything or eliminate everything from around the radical sign. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 4 to both sides of the equation. That gives me 21 is equal to 3 multiplied by the cube minus 10. Well, I want to get rid of that, so I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides of the equation. That gives me 7 is equal to the square root of cube minus 10. Go ahead and square both sides. So we've got 49 is equal to cube minus 10. Add 10 to both sides of the equation. We've got 59 is equal to cube. All right, there we go. Why don't you go ahead and make it 100? Good night.